Welcome to Cackling Heffas, the podcast where it's all about hot topics, wild current events, life's curveballs, and everything that makes us cackle out loud. I'm Mercedes, your solo host, bringing you my unapologetic take on the world, one cackle at a time. Buckle up because it's going to be a hilarious and unfiltered ride. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I still need my teleprompter for that opening script. I haven't quite got it memorized yet. What is up, everybody? We are now over the hump of Thanksgiving and in the holiday Christmas season or whatever holiday you celebrate in the month of December. So, how is everybody's Thanksgiving? I went back home to South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina originally, and I went back home and I had everybody call me Big Mama because your girl is the one that does the cooking, the cakes, the yams, the mac and cheese, the dressing, the ham, the lima beans, the greens, the fresh rolls, all of that. Your girl throws down. I can cook. I learned from my grandmother at a young age, and I started cooking the cakes, the cheesecake the night before on Wednesday, and then woke up at the butt crack of dawn on Thanksgiving Day and got to cooking. I got to throwing down. Gosh, I made lima beans, mustard greens, turnips, fresh rolls, macaroni and cheese dressing, ham, yams. What else? Green beans. It was a lot. I made a black velvet cake. I made my famous red velvet cake. And then I did a sweet potato cheesecake with a caramelized white chocolate ganache on top, which kind of turned into caramel and pecans. And it was delicious. So good that someone stole the red velvet cake. What was left of it? I now am going to, if I do like a big family Thanksgiving again, I'm going to have to make multiple cakes. So everyone has multiple cakes. I had to make a second black velvet cake. It was so popular. I found the recipe on Instagram and it did not fail me. I made it for the first time on Thanksgiving. And we know on Thanksgiving, you can't necessarily experiment. I did on the mac and cheese too, but the mac and cheese was good. I did the egg mac and cheese. It needed a little bit more time to sit, but we didn't eat until after 5. So everybody was hungry. So I just took it out and it didn't get to sit long enough to like stand up a little bit. But other than that, everything was absolutely delicious. It was a phenomenal Thanksgiving. I did not do any Black Friday shopping. None of the sort, just kind of chilled. I went and saw my grandmother. She's at a nursing home. I went and spent time with her because she turned 83. And yeah, that was my break. I hope you all had a lovely holiday. So let's get into this podcast. This is going to be an interesting podcast because we have some things to talk about. So let's get into the eggnog, the hot topics for this week. It's not too much that I have to talk about in terms of hot topics, but I have to talk about Wicked and how beautiful and how brilliant it was. I never watched the play. I did not know the premise. I knew it was based on The Wizard of Oz, but that's all I knew. So I went into this blind. It was such a beautiful movie. The music was amazing. I went by myself. So let me tell y'all, I was talking to my sister about this the other day. I kind of like have a quarterly movie date. I get the same seat in the theater at the AMC theater. I get the same snack. I get me a Coke, a Diet Coke, or like a Coke Zero or Coke. I get me the twin snakes, the sour gummies, and I get popcorn at the theater with extra butter. That's my thing. I sit in the end row seat because I go by myself, so I don't want to take up like a middle seat. So I get the end row and section C or the end seat in section C. And I do that when there's something that I really want to see. And I was debating Gladiator or Wicked. Now, I've never seen the first Gladiator, and I'm so glad I went with my right mind and saw Wicked because Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande did their voices, and they sang this live while they were filming it, were absolutely amazing. The premise was so good. The story of Wicked is so brilliant. It's based on a book. It is absolutely brilliant. So if you don't know, Wicked is from the witch's perspective, and the first act of Wicked is before like Dorothy gets involved in anything. And then the second act is when Dorothy gets involved in the mix. So the second act comes out the same date, so November 21st of 2025, and I will be set. Do you hear me? I will be set in the theater because it was absolutely breathtaking. After I saw the movie, I got in the car, immediately turned on the soundtrack. I listened to the soundtrack for the movie, and then I listened to the soundtrack for the original Broadway play of Wicked. Both are absolutely phenomenal. But after watching the movie, the significance of No One Mourns the Wicked, that score, when I listen to it now, I cry, especially at the end. That's my favorite song, Defying Gravity, and I'm That Girl, and also Sentimental Man. I love that one. I love Jeff Goldblum on that. That's those are my songs. And I do there's another one off Going to See the Wizard. That one I like too. But no One Mourns the Wicked is just gets to me. It gets to me. I listen to it every single day. I listened to it while I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner. I listened to it on Thanksgiving Day, and I listened to it on the way back home to Atlanta from South Carolina. Like, your girl is obsessed. I'm hooked. If you haven't seen it, go see it. The hype is real. I was one of those people, like, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo have been talking about Wicked for years now. The interviews were everywhere. They were all over my For You on TikTok. The Wicked merch in Target. Your girl got a sweatshirt. I had to after the movie. I was like, I absolutely have to get it. Like, I absolutely have to get something. So, yeah, it was just like super, super amazing. So, you guys have to see it. The hype, it lives up to the hype, it exceeds the hype. So, please go see it. Our next topic, it looks like our boy Joe Biden decided to pardon Hunter Biden. Now, we're not going to have a lot of politics on this show because I don't have a lot of hot topics. This is our last one. But I've been looking at the discourse over this, and I'm like, what did you guys think he was going to do? The case really shouldn't have been brought in the first place. No one thought it should have. People thought, like, you're just doing this because of all the stuff and the investigations that were happening in Trump. This was kind of like a payback. So he pardoned his son. How would we look at Joe if he walked out of that office and you don't pardon your own damn son? So he pardoned him. Like, it is what it is. Like I get it. Like, they asked Jill Biden, she was doing like a book reading or something. There was a bunch of little kids, like, her thoughts, and she's like, I'm okay that my son that was pardoned. And she's a stepmom, but nonetheless, like, yeah, like, why am I gonna be mad my son was pardoned? Like, what am I gonna be upset about that? Be like, Joe, you shouldn't have did that. You should have let his ass go to jail or be sentenced to like house arrest or something. Like, all the people that Donald Trump has pardoned, and then he intends to pardon all the January 6 people, and y'all better not say nothing about Joe pardoning his son. Like, absolutely not. Nothing. And that's it for the hot topic. So we're going to get into the shit. All right. So I had a very interesting conversation with my sister yesterday. So I gave her some advice. I asked her to work on like a personal goal of hers before dating anybody new. Like, get like, it doesn't have to be big, but just like work on something that you feel like good about before getting back out there. And she was like, yeah, that's not really my style. And we get on this whole conversation about being independent and not centering men. And that's from my perspective, like, not centering men. And she said, I think being an independent woman, or this movement of independent women, is overrated because I don't want to like struggle or do everything like on my own. And my take was like, well, you have community, you have friends. It does not have to be a male. And we're talking about it. It's getting heated, just like heated in like us both trying to get our perspectives out. And I said, well, maybe I'm just like jaded. Like, maybe I'm just like jaded. And I just think that men shouldn't be centered. And then I thought, she's at the end of her 20s. I'm in my 30s. And I thought, and I'm at the end of my mid 30s. And I thought, no, I don't think I'm jaded. I see it from a different perspective because of wisdom and age. So let me break it down. There was the last date that I went on. I hadn't been on a date in years. It was nothing spectacular or anything like that. We went to a bar, and this has been a while ago now, and I left that date crying. Now, before that date and the months prior to ever meeting that person, I was fine, happy, fine. But the idea of like having a crush on someone and liking them made me like giddy, and I would like think about it like we all do. Like a lot of people do, women and men do this. And I was, left so defeated after that date. It made me feel horrible. And I was like, this is why I don't date. Like, this is so stupid. And I know that isn't necessarily the mindset to have, because you won't put yourself out there if you feel that way. So now that I am changing, that I may be jaded about, where like I go on a date, it goes horribly and I just stop. I don't keep trying. That I do need to work on. But I want to say this. Robin Thede, she is the creator of a Black woman sketch show. It was on HBO. And I want to read what I think this may have been a tweet of hers. So I'm going to read it to you all because it kind of encompasses what I'm trying to say here. So she says, when a Black lady sketch show director and editors won Emmys in the same night, I was so elated that after I called the guy I was talking to and I said, "We won." She said he responded, "But you didn't win an Emmy." She says, horrified, this wasn't the first time he tried to put me down in a moment of joy. I said, "I have to go." And he tried to tell me he was kidding and offered congrats. She said, I said, "No worries," then got off the phone and never spoke to him again. She continues, "It was that simple for me. Jealousy and competitiveness in relationships or even friendships are so abhorrent to me." She said, "I'm like, why are you even here if you can't actually stand being here? Go deal with that on your own." And I rarely talk about my personal life, but I wanted to share this story because I know there are so many women being gaslit and treated the same way, and I want them to recognize bad behavior and know they'll be fine walking away. Her last tweet says, also, "If y'all knew who this was, you'd die laughing because they're extremely successful themselves. Proves that money and success don't make you kind." And it was just, I happened to see that and I was like, that's what I'm talking about. She wanted to share her excitement with a guy she was dating and he diminished it. Whether she actually won it, the show won it. Her show won that. It was an accomplishment. And she can always say she had an Emmy award winning show. And she'll always have that. You and I can turn on Max and watch a Black lady sketch show. It's going to be there for people to see, for it to still influence people. That is her baby, and that's something she should be proud of. Now, I'm not saying you can't work on things and have a TV show without a partner. I think it's Myra Brock Akili that did Girlfriends, The Game, those shows. She's been married this whole time. So I'm not saying you can't do both or have both. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if you love your life, you love the things you work hard for, that'll always be yours. And having a partner, that person can become a stranger. And I say that from experience. If you don't work out, you may still know the person, but they're no longer a part of your life. They become a stranger again, like before you met them. They grow and change, and so do you. You all don't know each other anymore. And I think that for me, being an independent woman means, for no matter what, I'm always going to be able to take care of myself. I may need help. I may need to call on friends and family, but I'm never going to rely solely on a man. If I have a partner that helps, that is great. But I always want to know that regardless whether he's there or not, I am going to be okay. My son is going to be okay. And I'm always going to have the tools to be able to do that. But I also want women and young women to always feel comfortable in their singleness. I want a partner to be a friend, to be a confidant, to be like my partner in crime, But if they are not adding to my life, I don't want them. Let me tell y'all, my last long term relationship, I was so miserable. When I say miserable, miserable. And you can have a partner and be miserable, or you can be single and be miserable, but you can also be single and be happy and be okay with that and be okay with putting your energy into meeting someone if that's what you want to do, but also just being happy being by yourself. There's more to life. And when, I hear women talk on TikTok about decentering men, and that just means like when you have conversations with your girls or your friends, you talk about the Wicked movie, you talk about the restaurant you went to, you talk about what's going on at work, your career, school, whatever else, because there's more to life than what's going on in your relationship, what you're who you're dating. There's more. It's a piece, right? It is, but there's more. There's so much going on this in this world. There's so much to talk about. There's so much we could be putting our energy to and helping our communities, especially in this day and age with what our world is going to be looking like politically here soon after January 20th. That I think that focusing on those things and having those be the forefront instead of centering a relationship is okay. I think it's good. And I don't think anything's wrong with it. I don't want people to look down at women who are independent. I think some people look at women that have been single or celibate for a long time as like something's missing, something's wrong with them. And it's not. I am genuinely happy. I have my struggles, but I'm genuine, like with life in general, but I'm genuinely happy. When I was younger, I can't say I would have been in this place at 25 or at 26. I cannot say I wouldn't have been happy. After my long-term relationship, I immediately got into something else and I fell head over heels for that person. And it was a 2-year situationship and they up and left and moved and was engaged within the year. So you have to learn how to be happy. You Because if you put your eggs in that basket solely, then you'll be disappointed and then you won't be happy in your own skin by yourself. I'm not saying not to look for love or not to want partnership. I'm just saying be happy, learn how to be happy being single. So if something doesn't work out, you can find your way back to that happiness and that comfortability. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all know what I'm saying. Okay. And that's what I wanted to talk about this week. I know this can cause a debate. So I want to know your all's thoughts. So I'll leave a poll on this podcast episode and tell me what y'all think. And we will get into the next episode, which is, or y'all, the next episode, the next segment. What is making me cackle? Y'all, I've been like the podcast is called Cackling Heffas, and we've had some deep conversations. We've had some levity, but I've been forgetting to talk about what's been making me cackle. And so one thing that's been making me cackle is, the saying how, we can be like some of us can be chronically on TikTok and some people just don't get the TikTok's jokes. Well, y'all, I tried a TikTok joke at a meeting. So, as you guys know, I'm in public health. We've talked about the implications of public health the implications of Trump's presidency on the field of public health. And so, we're having this meeting and I'm leading the charge on this outcome evaluation. And I was like, yeah, y'all know we have 30 minutes, just 30. No one said anything. No one unmuted. I was like, you know what? I knew I shouldn't have said anything. Nobody was going to get it. Nobody got it. There's only 2 millennials on my team. I was so mad. But anyways, I tried. And then the last thing, now it didn't have me cackling, but this may have you cackling. Men, I am tired of y'all telling women to smile. We all get it. It happened to me a few weeks ago when I went to the QT. The guy I always see in there was like, "You're not smiling today." And that's because, nigga, I don't feel like smiling today. So I got a new one for y'all. Right before Thanksgiving break, I was, running around getting last minute things. I'm going in Target. I'm a shorty. I'm 5'1". We walk at a brisk pace. So I'm power walking in that Target. I need one thing and I need to get the hell out and head back out. Like, that's it. As I'm walking into Target, a man rolls down his window and proceeds to yell at me to slow down. I look back and I kind of, you know how you nervously giggle? I nervously giggle, like, okay. And he's like, no, slow down, slow down. So I keep walking at my brisk pace. He yells again, slow down, slow down. Now I'm pissed. I don't look back at him and I continue to walk back in. Who the fuck are you to tell me to slow down? I'm minding my business, sir. Mind your business. So what do you mean slow down? You don't know what the hell I got going on. You have no idea why I'm walking at this brisk pace, and you have no reason to tell me to slow down. If get the fuck on. I just had to tell y'all that. I was ooh. The next time a guy tells me to smile or slow down, I'm probably going to blow a gasket because I've heard it in the past month twice. Smile and now slow down. This is a new one. Slow down is new to me, but I don't know. It may come to you next. They may start telling y'all to slow down when you're walking fast. So, anyways, all right. We are finally at the end of this podcast. This is a short but sweet one. So, we've had this segment a couple times in a row now. What am I rotting to? So you can rot too. And I watch my TV now. When I get my downtime, I rub my feet together, I lay my ass on this couch and I watch the TV. And did y'all watch Madness on Netflix over the holiday break with Coleman Domingo? Because I watch Madness. And okay, before Madness, months ago, I've watched all of The Walking Dead and I've watched the sequels, but I went back and watched Fear the Walking Dead. Coleman Domingo is in that. Coleman Domingo is also in what's the show with Zendaya? Oh, Euphoria. I liked him in that. There's also another show he's in that I liked him in. But I don't like he gets typecasted as this unlikable character. And then in Fear of the Walking Dead and in the show Madness, he like flips his collar up on his jacket. Those are both roles he did that in. And he was highly unlikable in Fear the Walking Dead. And he is highly unlikable in Madness. I do not like him in this show. And then he also like you know how people say you have resting bitch face? He has resting like open mouth. Like his mouth is always like open, like when he's thinking or he's looking confused in these roles, and it's annoying. I love the way he dresses. I love his interviews on red carpet. I do not like these roles. The premise of Madness is that he is a CNN news anchor and he gets framed for murder. I'm not going to give any spoilers because that's literally the description of the show is what I just gave you on Netflix. If you read the description, it was worth watching. It is entertaining, but his character will annoy the fuck out of you. You can binge it in a weekend. Y'all watch it this weekend and tell me what you think. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 7, maybe a 6.5. I mean, I'm telling you to watch it because it's got a lot of moving pieces, but it's also some of the moving pieces are so unrealistic. And with shows nowadays, there's a lot of fantasy shows. Like I'm watching Dune Prophecy on Max because I watch both Dune movies. I watch Game of Thrones. I watch House of the Dragon. There's enough fantasy out here. If you're gonna do fantasy, just do fantasy. But if you're gonna do real life portrayals and action, just make it a little bit more believable. And some of the shit was really far fetched. So I didn't really care for that. I didn't care for that so much. So tell me what you all think. That is it for today's podcast. I will see you all again next Monday. We'll have a longer episode next Monday. Oh, I forgot. Remember, I told you I was going to think of something to call woke to replace woke. And I realized that the way the right is using it is they literally mean thoughtful, like people being thoughtful and considerate of other people's perspectives and feelings. So replace woke with thoughtful so you can see how stupid you sound when you say the right is being too thoughtful, because that's essentially what you're saying. So I did think of a word, very simple, very basic, cuts to the point, makes the other side look incredibly stupid. So I wanted to update y'all on that. And then the video portion or the video version of this podcast will be up tomorrow morning if you want to watch instead of listen, or if you want to watch after you listen. And yeah, that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. Please follow the podcast, leave a review. If you like it, please come back. And until next time, set some good intentions for your week and remember to always be a vibe. Bye.